Mount Prospect, and I went to high school in a place called Palatine. My parents are both Pakistani. My mom grew up in Saudi Arabia. The two of them lived in Kenya before they moved to the U.S. So let's recap. I was born in the United States. English is my first and only language. I'm not intimately tied to any foreign culture, and all my friends are American. So what does that mean? That means I'm American. These are my high school friends. One key thing I forgot to mention, surprise, I'm non-white. So the implications of that are that no matter what, I always felt a little bit out of place, and the way I was perceived did affect how I perceived things, specifically post 9/11. So let's look at another angle. Growing up, I used to watch a lot of TV, and through no deliberate means, every show I watched had predominantly African-American casts. Anyway, so these are the things I watched. So, why is this important? Because I believe for many people, like myself, pop culture is the way that we identify ourselves and helps build our concept of a family. So Felicia Rashad in The Cosby Show reminds me a lot of my own mom. So when I see her, I'd be seeing a mother figure. Someone like Uncle Phil, I think we all know someone that's like Uncle Phil. It's a lot of fun. But R.I.P. at James Avery. Sorry. Help me. I'm going to call upon one of my friends, Reza Aslan, who you may know from this horrific interview.
Love him.
And there's something he said in a Reddit AMA that just really helped me contextualize a lot of things. And I'm just going to read through it real quick. So someone asked, how does studying religion affect your faith? And his answer, I'm just going to read it in whole, if you don't mind. I think that Buddha said it right. If you want to draw water, you do not dig 6 1-foot wells. You dig 1 6-foot well. Islam is my 6-foot well. I like the symbols and metaphors it uses to describe yada yada. So, this was my cultural 6-foot well. The symbols and metaphors clicked with me. Specifically, this show meant a lot to me. Although there was some tension, because not only did I want to identify with Will Smith, more than anything, I just wanted to get with Hillary Banks. And that'd be weird if I was Will Smith, because they're cousins. So this brings me to my first foray into hip-hop, which is Will Smith's Millennium. But we're going to ignore that for now. Because at another point, I was introduced to an artist I think a lot of us know really well, are familiar with, and like a lot. Kanye West. And my sophomore year of high school, so pretty late in life, I'd say, I first listened to this, and right away it clicked. As soon as I heard the first track, I knew that I loved it, and I knew it would become a very important part of my life. So I'm going to mention just some of the lyrics in this album that really touched me. So in the first song, We Don't Care, the song that really changed my life because it got me into hip-hop, I love how he's so defiant throughout the entire thing. And he talks about ambition and people discounting you for whatever reason. And it sold me on hip-hop as a genre. In Spaceship, I remember working a part-time job in a movie theater, and in my head, this part would be playing. I've been working the grave shift, but I ain't made shit. In School Spirit, I love this part because it's that same defiance that Kanye has. And Through the Wire, but I'm a champion, so I turn tragedy to triumph. That's exactly what I wanted to hear when I was that age. And this song, Family Business, honestly, I put the entire song in its entirety. It's one of the most heartfelt, touching songs I've ever heard, and it's since become really important to me. And I'm just going to quickly go through some of the major albums in my life that sort of chart my progression as an individual. This is all through high school. Later in high school, I had a little conscious kick for a bit. Then Drake came out. That changed everything.
Nothing was the same.
I remember listening to this summer after I graduated high school, and I heard it probably like 100 times in that summer. I had a burned copy of it, never bought it actually. I bought a copy of it, it was in my car, just listening to it constantly. And freshman year, I remember when this came out, Mo and his brother and I got it right away, listened to it, in and out, talked about the lyrics, dissected it, everything. Big Sean's Detroit, Nas's Illmatic, Drake's Take Care, Nas's Life is Good, and I want to highlight some lyrics that have really stuck with me, because this album is one of my favorites. So in this he talks about how, when he was young, he had to rely on free lunch options. So he was embarrassed, but he managed to do it, and the part that really sticks with me and gives me chills every time is when he says, so I decided now I'm in charge, either stay full or starve. And in another song, sorry, this is like the whole verse, but He talks about how he made 17, at 17 I made 17,000 living in public housing, etc., etc. And at the bottom, he compares himself to a soldier coming home, 20 years old, with no legs, saying there's no sense to cry and complain, just go ahead. And this sort of transitions into me into, oh wait, there's some more. So why rap? So it gets stuck in your head. There's that musical component. You hear it on the radio. These things just play in your own head. And you can remember these small lyrics that really stick with you. I think there's a great balance between grandiosity and intimacy. Some songs are lavish. Some songs are very personal. Some songs are letters. Some songs are just bragging for 5 minutes straight. And it's self-reflective in that people talk about things that just happened to them. And that also ties with topically current. For example, I can't think of any other art form where someone can talk about the fact that they just won a Grammy a couple months previous, which Drake does in Versace. And it's conceptually consistent. I think that's really important because when you find something in rap, each rapper has a different way of saying it, and every time you hear it in a new way, it's like you're refreshing that concept to yourself, and it reaffirms what you believe in. So it really became a primary narrative force in my life. There's so many moments in my life where I think about it when I was listening to. I think about these small lyrics that were there accompanying me. And there's some great examples, there's some embarrassing examples, one of which I'll share right now. Malik and Mo were gracious, I'm sorry, Mo's brother Malik. So were gracious enough to take care of me one night when I drank a little too much. And I was and Malik mentioned that when I was like going back and forth from my bed to the bathroom, I just kept saying the song from Big Sean's How I Feel. It's like, I'm wasted, I'm faded. It's okay. So when I talk about rap, I'm not just talking about the music genre. I'm talking about something that encapsulates my values, my outlook, and my ambitions. Really, I'm talking about me as an individual. And just, I want to put this in, it's not purely a racial concept. And an example, another pop culture example I think many of us might be familiar with is this little show called Entourage. And basically what they have in common with rap is that they are outsiders, they being the guys from Queens, not so much Ari, but they lack traditional pedigree, and there's a clash of cultures internally. So not only do they want to stay true to their roots, they also want to take in the lifestyle that they've approached. And in both, I'd say I learned about loyalty, self-sacrifice, ambition, family, triumph, tragedy, adversity, you name it. And two examples stick out specifically. One is Kanye West's verse in the song Click is one of my favorite moments in hip-hop in my entire life. And in Entourage, there's this one scene, I don't know why it stuck with me so much, but they're all at some like event, and Turtle manages to pick up some girl and takes her back to his car. And she's really impatient and tells him he should leave, and he says,